Cole Rivers' gun was still warm against Buck Wheeler's head when he saw her. Sarah Grace stood in the school doorway like a ghost from his past. Her dark hair was pulled back tight, but those blue eyes. God, those eyes still had the same fire that kept him awake at night for 3 long years. Blood ran down Wheeler's hand where Cole's bullet hit him. The bad man was crying about his brothers coming back for revenge, but Cole wasn't listening. All he could see was how Sarah's chest moved up and down under her dress, how her lips opened in shock at seeing him again. She was 28 when she first taught him to read. Now she was 42, her husband was dead, and she was more beautiful than any woman should be. The love he buried years ago came back like fire in dry grass. What happens when a man comes back for the woman his heart never forgot? Cole Rivers rode into Cedar Creek with dust on his boots and death following his name. The local paper called him the fastest gun south of Tucson. 7 bad men lay dead to prove it. But as he sat on his horse at the edge of town, watching all the busy people, none of that mattered. He came home for her. The little schoolhouse looked the same, old wooden boards, crooked chimney smoking into the desert sky. Through the window, he could see her moving like he remembered, pointing to letters on the board, her thin waist turning as she talked to her students. God, she was still perfect. When the children ran out for lunch, Cole got off his horse. His spurs made noise on the hard ground as he walked to the school door. She was cleaning the board, not knowing he was there, and he took time to look at her. The years were good to Sarah Grace. Her body had grown fuller, with more curves under the grey dress. When she turned and saw him in the doorway, her hand flew to her throat, something she always did that almost broke his heart. Cole Rivers. Her voice was soft as a whisper. My God, look at you. He grew 6 inches since she knew him, got big and strong through the shoulders. The scared boy who couldn't spell his name became a man who made people respect him with the gun on his hip. He touched his hat, suddenly feeling like a kid again. Thought I'd come say hello to my old teacher. Her face got red. You shouldn't be here, Cole. People will talk. Let them. He stepped inside, and the small room felt even smaller. Heard about your husband. I'm sorry. She kept busy moving papers around, but he saw how her hands shook. Dr. Grace was a good man. The sickness took him fast. But not fast enough to save you from hurting. The words hung in the air like smoke. When she finally looked up, her blue eyes had tears in them. You did well for yourself, she said, changing the subject. Everyone knows your name now. A man makes choices. His voice was harder than he wanted. Question is if he can live with them. She started to answer, but horse sounds outside made them both stop. Through the window, they could see 3 riders getting off their horses. The Wheeler brothers came to visit. Buck Wheeler pushed through the school door like he owned it. His brothers Billy and Frank stood behind him with the mean look of men used to taking what they wanted. Sarah's face went white, but she didn't move back. Mrs. Grace, Buck said slow, his eyes looking at her body in a way that made Cole sick. Time we talked about your late taxes. I paid what I owe, Sarah said. Her voice was steady even though Cole could see she was scared. Not talking about town taxes, pretty lady. Buck stepped closer, and Sarah moved back against her desk. Talking about keeping you safe. This is dangerous land. A pretty woman like you all alone might need some special help. The way he said it made Cole's blood hot. The dog was threatening her, and not just about money. The lady said she paid. Cole's voice cut through the air like a knife. The 3 brothers turned around, their hands moving toward their guns. Buck's eyes got thin as he saw Cole's gun and the silver star on his chest. Well. Cole Rivers. Buck spit on the clean floor. Heard you was making trouble down New Mexico way. Heard right. Cole's hand hung loose near his gun. Also heard you boys been bothering good folks. Frank Wheeler, the youngest and hottest head, stepped up. You trying to scare us, Rivers? Just saying what's true. Jake's voice was calm as winter ice. Now you're going to say sorry to Mrs. Whitmore and ride away, or we can fight this out in the street. The air felt tight. Maggie pressed against the board, her hands white where she held the desk. Jake could smell the fear on the Clantons, could see them thinking. Ike was fast, had a name for it. But Jake had something the bad man didn't, something worth fighting for. Draw. The word just left Ike's mouth when Jake's gun jumped into his hand. The gun kicked, and Ike's gun went flying from his hand along with part of his thumb. Ike held his bloody hand to his chest, his face white. Jesus. Next time it won't be your gun hand, Jake said quiet. It'll be your heart. All of you, get on your horses and go. Frank looked like he wanted to fight, but Billy grabbed his arm. Come on. This isn't over, Morrison, Ike said mean as they backed to the door. Yes, it is. Jake's voice sounded like death. Touch her again, and I'll hunt you down like wild dogs. After they rode away in dust and bad words, Jake turned to see Maggie looking at him with wonder and something else, something that made his chest tight. You're not the boy I remember, she whispered. No, I'm not. The way she looked at him then, like she was seeing him for the first time, made every bullet he dodged, every hard night on the trail worth it. That night, wind started howling down from the mountains, bringing the smell of snow. By the time Jake finished his work as deputy, big flakes were falling thick, the kind of storm that could bury a man. He was going to the hotel when he saw light still burning in Maggie's little house behind the school. Through the window, he could see her moving around the small kitchen, and something about her being alone in the storm pulled at him. His knock was soft, but she still jumped when she opened the door. Jake, what are you doing out in this bad weather? Storm caught me. Snow was already thick on his shoulders. Hotels full of miners. Thought maybe. She waited, and he could see the fight in her eyes, doing what's right against just being kind. Come in before you freeze. Her house was small but warm, with a stone fireplace and the soft touches a woman brings. Books lined one wall, and he saw the same book she used to teach him letters years ago. I'll make coffee, she said, working at the stove. But her hands shook, and when she gave him a hot cup, their fingers touched. It felt like lightning. She pulled back like she was burned, but not before he saw how her eyes got big, the quick breath that had nothing to do with cold. Maggie. His voice was rough. We need to talk about what happened today. Nothing happened. But she wouldn't look at him, pulling her shawl tight. You kept me safe from those bad men. I'm grateful. That's all. She turned to face the fire, and in the orange light she looked younger, more like the woman he fell for when he was just a boy. That's all it can be, Jake. I'm 13 years older than you. I was your teacher. People already talk about the widow living alone. If they knew you were here. I don't care what people say. Well, I do. She spun around, and the shawl fell from her shoulders. The firelight caught her neck, her chest under the thin night dress. This is all I have, Jake. My good name, my job. Lose that, and I have nothing. He put down his coffee and moved toward her, slow and careful like with a scared horse. You have me. For how long? Her voice broke. Until you get tired? Until you find some young girl who can give you babies? I'm 42 years old, Jake. What could I give a man like you? Everything. He touched her face, felt her shake under his hand. You gave me everything that matters, hope, learning, a reason to be better than I was. You think I don't know love? I've loved you since I was 21. Loved you through every mile I rode, every fight I won, every lonely night under the stars. That doesn't just go away. Her eyes closed. This is crazy. Then let's be crazy together. When he kissed her, she melted against him like snow in spring. The kiss was everything Jake dreamed, soft lips that tasted like coffee and forbidden promises, the sweet sound when she stopped fighting what they both wanted. Her hands grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer even as her mind said no. We shouldn't, oh God, Jake, we shouldn't. But her body told a different story. When his hands went around her waist, she pressed against him with a soft sound that went straight to his heart. The years fell away, leaving only this, the woman he never stopped wanting and the fire that never stopped burning. Tell me to stop, he said against her throat, kissing the soft skin he'd dreamed of. Tell me to walk away, and I will. Instead, she pulled his head down to hers, kissing him like she was starving. Her fingers worked at his shirt buttons with shaking hands, and when her hands found his bare chest, he made a sound deep in his throat. Maggie. His voice was thick with want. Beautiful Maggie. She was beautiful in the firelight, hair loose and wild around her shoulders, lips red from his kisses, eyes dark with desire. When she started unlacing her dress, he thought his heart might stop. "I've dreamed of this," she whispered, and hearing that broke him open. He picked her up in his arms, carrying her to the bed in the corner. She felt perfect against his chest, her breath warm on his neck as she kissed his jaw. But as he put her down on the blanket, something made him stop. In the lamplight, he could see the small picture on her night table, Dr. Whitmore, her dead husband, smiling in his wedding clothes. The dead man's eyes seemed to watch them, judging. Maggie saw where he was looking and went stiff. "Oh, no." Her hands flew to cover herself. "Oh God, what am I doing?" "Maggie, no dash." She moved away from him, holding her loose dress to her chest. "I can't. Thomas, he was a good man. I can't shame his memory like this." Jake felt the space opening between them like a wound. "He's dead, Maggie. You're not." "But I was his wife." Tears ran down her face. "And you were my student. This is wrong, Jake. God help me, this is so wrong." He reached for her, but she pulled away. It hurt worse than any bullet ever had. "Then what do you want from me?" His voice was hard with hurt and anger. "To pretend I don't love you? To watch from far away while you waste away in this house, alone? I want you to be the man I taught you to be," she said quiet. "Good. Decent. Better than what you want." The words hung between them like a curse. Outside, the storm got worse, shaking the windows. Jake put on his shirt with quick, angry moves. "Where are you going?" "To sleep in the barn." He put on his coat. "Don't want to hurt your good name anymore." But as he reached for the door, 3 gunshots broke through the storm, the signal for trouble in town. Jake's blood turned to ice. The Clantons. They were back.